right, well, welcome again to the Hats of the 20th Century Museum, Hats and More. And actually, the point of this whole thing is that I want to get the hats that are stored away, but in this building, we've gone around the whole building before. It's every decade of the 20th century, and in these displays are all the hats that I've done programs about, and I'm so anxious to pull them out and get them on tables and show you all the hats. But first, we have some things that are pre-1900, so they're kind of a little older than what I'm into here, but we're going to show them to you anyway, and then we'll get on to the hat programs after this. Oops, our wonderful old clock. I've picked up wonderful things at thrift stores, and for 25 years now, it's turned into this situation. Anyway, my oldest item in this museum is a wonderful piece of dinosaur poop from our nephew, bless his heart. I mean, who can live without one of these? So there's nothing in here that's older than this. It's from the Mesozoic period, so it stands to be at least 65 million years old, and could even be 230 million years old, if only poop could talk. Now, my other oldest item is a hat that has nothing to do with the 20th century, but I found it at an antique show, and of course, it was a good price, so I bought it. It's a calash bonnet, and this was designed by the Duchess of Devonshire in England about 1765 to accommodate the huge towering hairdos that the women of wealth were wearing at that time. So it didn't even touch the hair generally. So it's been popular from 1770 to about 1820. So even if this is one of the last ones made, this little gal is 200 years old. So it was always worn over a little mob cap bonnet. I'm going to take that pin out and show how it would fold back and fold down flat, just like the top of a carriage. A calash bonnet. And that is something that I haven't touched in years and will probably put back in the dark box I keep it in, but very old. All right, so let's go to things that aren't quite so old. Just take a view. My husband of half a century and more is my cameraman. Just take a view of each page, or each shelf. People know what old photographs look like, so I'm not going to pick them up and talk about them. But you do wonder, you know, so many things didn't have names on them or dates. This is something from our family. Looks very interesting, but I don't know what it was. So there we go. All right, now let's see. Let's come around here when you're done. And I will go to the things that are on this table, or this buffet. Oh yeah, this picture here, when you get this far, is very interesting because it has been pushed out while it was wet in the developing process. It was pushed out, so you can't see it, but it is 3D, and it's very, very unique. Another of my oldest hats is this riding bonnet from 1850 to 1875. And I won't burden you with every story of when I bought something and how little I paid, but this was a wonderful thing that I was looking through the window of a little antique shop in a small town, and I saw they had a hat. This is the beginning of me buying hats, and I thought, oh, I wonder if it's for sale, how much? Well, when the shop was open, the gal said $3.50. I about died. Because, of course, who wouldn't pay $3.50 for a hat this old? It's a real beauty, a real gem, and very stylish, but, you know, I would never wear it. I will not wear these old hats. That's what costumes are for. So, a riding bonnet. They were called postilions. Here's a couple wonderful old autograph books. This one's from 1887. This one was 1890. And all your friends would try to write something clever. This belonged to Jenny Hickman in 1890. Here's a cute one, a cute little poem. They always tried to make it rhyme. I've looked these pages o'er and o'er to see what others wrote before. And in this little lonely spot, I hear inscribed, "Forget me not, your friend Mabel Hart." And look at the little, I don't know what you call it, little die-cut forget-me-nots. Forget-me-nots were very popular. That is wonderful. A person could spend a long time reading those poems. Here are calling cards that I'm not an expert on calling cards, but I assume this was the thing that you would give to the maid if you were wealthy, to let them know who had just come, who was waiting in the parlor to visit. Here's a calling card that was really cute because it's got a place for a little note to go inside, a little thank you card from someone named Harold. Another pretty calling card, just cards they traded and gave each other. This is a copy, a reproduction of lorgnettes, which I found wonderful. I'm so glad I could find these to wear when you're wearing costume type things. I'm going to show you right now a real pair that I usually just keep on display, but we'll flip them open today. This is real lorgnettes. A wonderful find in an antique store. Did I say how much fun I had in antique stores? Here's another thing that doesn't get used anymore, but at one point in time, men might wear a monocle just to improve the vision of one eye. I can't imagine that. And a friend of mine who really knows these antique things said that she thinks that's genuinely a monocle. So, okay, I'll believe her. Okay, the other hat. This hat's a reproduction. A couple of girlfriends and I took a class in Victorian hat making. So this is of the Victorian era, complete with iridescent lining, which they had back then. And I had just found at an garage sale some of this wonderful old braiding. Can you get in on that? It's really metal involved there. I don't know what. But the gal who was teaching the Victorian hat class, the millinery class, was really very interested in this. So she wondered where the garage sale had been. And at a thrift store about that time, I found this brooch, which is Queen's Jubilee. So that would have been in 1887 that Queen Victoria had her Jubilee. And it's called Victoria Regina. The only research I could find on that was that it was a Canadian celebration, and brace myself that that's probably a reproduction. Why would anybody be reproducing that from 1887? But anyway, I only paid 59 cents, so I don't care. What else we got here? Let's go down here. Oh, hey, this is what the braid was in. I bought the braid in this funny little box, and my friend explained to me that this is a papier-mâché snuff box from the 1800s. So wasn't that a lucky find? That and the braid. Here's some wonderful old glasses that my uncle got out of a log cabin, the walls of a log cabin. So these are very, very old. And I'm going to sneak down and pick up a book. Although if you watch anything historical on TV, you see that Ben Franklin and Thomas Jefferson and all those guys are wearing that type of hinged spectacles. And this is a book about presidents in the White House, and there's a page that shows Thomas Jefferson's. There's plenty of other pages that show others, but I thought that one showed it quite well. There we go. So those are terrific, and certainly not of the 1900 period. Now this is something that could have been used in the 1900s. Spectacles that are called pince-nez, which means they pinched the nose, and this little ring would have been to carry a chain or a ribbon to hold it around your neck. These look like they were for men, but I don't honestly know. And we'll get to some more of those pince-nez glasses. Now, up here, and this time I'm going to actually get really high over here. These are some mourning items, starting with the picture of the old gal who's either lost her husband or son or something. In an antique store, they wanted her out of there because they felt she was bringing spooks. Well, she's just a poor old gal who's in mourning. So that was a wonderful picture. And I don't know if you can see it, but on those old pictures, sometimes the glass is very wavy. Here's a piece of glass surrounding just a frame that's about to fall apart. Can you pick up the waves on that? There we go. So when you see waves in old glass like that, it seems like it's a mistake, but it's a wonderful mistake. So this hat is not authentic. This is one that I wore as a costume. We don't have to have a close-up, but there's me and my girlfriends at a morning tea. And but this one on the other side would be the genuine article, and it could be pinned with mourning pins, black-headed pins, to be an actual mourning veil or mourning hat. It has a little of the crepe, mourning crepe here, as sort of a ruffle on the side. And the veil is a wonderful, never been used, wonderful mourning veil. Here's the pins. I got a little box of the mourning pins made in Germany. Got those on eBay. Yeah, thank goodness for eBay. They've really helped. Here's a pin cushion full of some others. Mourning pins have to be dull so that they are not shiny when you arrange your veil and pin it into place. Here we've got a wonderful black fan, obviously, no doubt used at the time of mourning. And behind the hat, in this picture of just a gal in mourning, is another fan with lilies of the valley that were a flower that was acceptable during mourning. This is a mourning indoor bonnet. This type of thing was very pre-1900. In the 1800s, old gals wore indoor bonnets. So, of course, if you were in mourning, it needed to be black. So what else do we have here? Let's look on this shelf. Here we have, I'll just point with it, we have a mourning brooch. It could be gutta percha or bakelite. I really haven't tested it to know which one. Black comb for your hair, mourning. And these earrings, I can pick them up, are black glass. Probably not black jet, but just black glass. And I wondered about that because of the hook earring style, the French hook. But I've seen now that hair, braided mourning hair, was made into earrings with a French hook style. So I know that is that old. Speaking of the braided hair, here is some braided hair that was used as a mourning thing. You know, you either braided the hair after the person had passed away, or if they were going off to war, you might have taken some hair to keep as a memorial for them if they didn't come back, and have it braided into a piece of jewelry. Earrings, brooches. This looks like a key fob of some sort with a compass at the end. Now let's see what else we have in here. We have a wonderful old watch. And we have a bottle of perfume that has withstood just about everything, even a fall to a floor here. Hoyt and Company Perfumers of Philadelphia. This was dug up in the hillside along my grandmother's house. Isn't that something? Anyway, what else we have? That flustered me a little. Old books, wonderful old watch. It's a perfume in the way of the watch. Can you see the watch?
Yeah.
Good. All righty. It's on a stand, has a wonderful fob chain and all of that. Everybody's seen that type of stuff. Here's some old jewelry. It's not very pretty, but you know, it's quite old. Now on the second shelf down, I think we've talked about everything we need to. We have a beautiful little bonnet from the 1800s. It's got wonderful beads as a design. I'll show you the inside. So old, so delicate. Some beautiful flowers still. A little half moon of something, possibly bakelite. I don't know what, but very cute, very old. And here's a gold bracelet. Beautiful old bracelet. Can't remember how it opens up. I don't know. I shouldn't try to pull it apart. Well, it opens up there some way, and I'm not going to break it right now, trying to remember. Various pieces of jewelry. Lovely old cameo. More old books. a cute old check from 1891, the beautiful handwriting. That's something young people don't understand now, writing checks. Can you see the doll here? She's a pincushion top with real hair. Bisque porcelain or something, I'm not really sure. But she's a beautiful antique. I had to put some lace around her for modesty. Now here's something that I just couldn't believe when I found out about it. But the morning after pill of days gone by. It's penny royal, which is a flower, and they could make pills that would upset a woman's system so bad that she would miscarry. So they were very dangerous. Let's see if you can get in on what that says. I can't even read it from here, but there's still dust in the container from 1888. And penny royal, as dangerous as it was around through the 30s. There we go. That means we've talked 15 minutes. Well, you know what? I'm going to stop right here, and we'll start in again on another little episode from here down and around the corner a little bit. So